Real estate investors, welcome to your housing market update for Bryan-College Station, May 2025. That's right, we're going to cover what's going on in our local market. We're going to discuss multifamily and why it is still strong. We're going to discuss condos and whether or not they're bottoming out. And of course, at the end of the video, I will have a bonus content client question that I will answer for you guys. Of course, all of that and more on your favorite channel, Investing in Bryan-College Station, where it is our goal to help you grow your wealth through real estate in my favorite towns of Bryan and College Station, Texas. Guys, this is gonna be a great video about our market update. Of course, we drop these every single month, and this month is no different. I should introduce myself though. My name is Greg Schwartz, and I'm a Marine Corps helicopter pilot turned real estate investor. Along the way, I managed 150 units for a mentor of mine. Along the way, my wife and I grew our portfolio from 2 units to 26, including 8 Airbnbs. And along the way, I got licensed as a real estate agent with Keller Williams and started Schwartz Realty Group, where I help investors just like you buy, sell, invest right here in Bryan-College Station, again, with the goals to help you grow your wealth. So with all that being said, let's jump in to the housing market update, let you know what's going on. This is data released as of April 2025. Let's start things off with our median sales price. We're now at $312,850. That is up year over year by 4.3%, which is good news. It shows that we still have appreciation in a market that's otherwise slowing down. Speaking of slowing down, we have seen a 4-month trend of increase in active listings and increase in months of inventory. These are both good indicators of whether or not a market is hot or not. In this case, it's showing a cooling market shifting towards a buyer's market. Active listings are at 1,278. That is up 30% year over year and up 3.5% from March 2025 to April 2025. This is the highest number of active listings we've seen since June of 2019. And in fact, going back 10 years, there's only 3 or 4 months that have seen more than 1,300 active listings. So we're getting up there. Similarly, months of inventory have seen that 4-month increase. We are now at 4.7 months of inventory. That is up 27% year over year and up from previous month data where we were at 4.6. Again, this is an indication of a strong shift towards a buyer's market, meaning buyers will have the upper hand in most negotiations. I say most negotiations because it's not true for our multifamily buyers. Speaking of multifamily, we're sitting at 1.85 months of inventory for multifamily. Compare that to 4.7, it is much lower and indicating that we're still in a seller's market. The big driver of that is just lack of inventory. Our inventory at 21 active listings is down 36% from pre-pandemic levels. There's just not enough fourplexes and duplexes on the market to feed our current demand, which means that we are still seeing feeding frenzy for well-priced properties, and investors, you're just not getting a good deal in multifamily in most cases right now. A good case in point in that are the 4 fourplexes that were listed on Vassar. 705, 707, and 709 all went under contract in less than 10 days. Guys, if you want to buy multifamily, you better be quick. If you're an Aggie parent, this is the time to tune in because we're talking condos, whose current median sales price is $235,000. And that is actually perfectly flat year over year, which probably doesn't sound super strong, but is way better than what we saw back in August, September, and October of 2024, where the year-over-year declines were 24%, 7%, and 28% respectively. In fact, according to a tea leaf that I follow, that is the average growth trend, we are actually bottoming out or possibly recovering when it comes to condos. All that to be said is I believe that now is still a good time to buy a condo for your student when they attend A&M that will allow you to offset some of the expenses that come with tuition. I've got whole videos on that, check it out. But the news here is that condos are probably on a road to recovery. So what are your big takeaways from this market update? If you are looking to buy multifamily, you better be Johnny on the spot. If you have some old multifamily currently in your portfolio, it might not be a bad time to sell in a seller's market when it comes to multifamily and buy in a buyer's market when it comes to single family. If you've been thinking about upgrading your 1980s duplexes for a shiny 2010 single family house, now would be a good time to make that 1031 exchange. Of course, if you're a buyer, it's always great to be pre-approved and know what you're going after. But if you are shopping for single families, you have a little bit more wiggle room. You can ask for things like having a roof replaced or an AC replaced as part of seller concessions. Ultimately, it's a pretty turbulent market still, and of course, the most important thing you can do is tune in next month when I bring you more information. Welcome to your bonus content, where I answer a client's question, and this week is no different. This week I had a client who's relatively new to Bryan-College Station, and they asked me, Greg, are student renters good or are they bad? Made me think. They're just different. You see, student renters have both pros and cons. Most notably on the con side of the list would be the fact that they are kids. They're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, which means they're not fully developed. Specifically, the decision-making portion of their brain hasn't fully developed, so they don't always make great decisions, which is why we do see a higher increase in damages in our student rentals. But the good news is that a savvy landlord, a landlord who works with Schwartz Realty Group, is smart enough to get a guarantor. This is likely going to be that student's parents. And the parents at A&M on average make $130,000 a year. They've got good credit. They're in their 40s and 50s. And that means that they are not going to let little Johnny ruin their credit. They're going to be financially responsible for things like rent and damages, and they're going to make sure that you get paid and reimbursed for any issues you run into. And that is really reassuring. But one of the best pros to student renters, particularly here in Bryan-College Station, is just the demand. There are a lot of students. With over 70,000 students at A&M, there's a lot of students looking for rental properties, and because we have the ability to pre-lease, a lot of times you never see a vacancy. You have that property pre-leased before the current tenants ever move out, meaning no or little to no vacancy, quick turns on your properties, great tenants that are financially backed by extremely qualified guarantors. Hopefully that answers your questions about student renters here in Aggieland. Guys, I really hope I brought you value through this video. If I did, go ahead down below, hit that like, that thumbs up. And if you want more content like this, I do drop a video every single week, so go ahead and subscribe. My only real ask though, is until I drop that next video, until next week, is that you take it easy.